I'm Sierra Liggett, a wife and a mother sharing our story and journey. We love all things adventure, sustainability, and gentle parenting. We have a passion of gardening and growing our own food in the hopes of a more eco-friendly lifestyle. I share our story, vibrant photography, and tips all on my website at sierraliggett.com. Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to do another video for my parenting series. So if you haven't already, be sure to watch. I'll leave a little link up here, somewhere up here. My first parenting video, which is 5 things that you should start now to stop yelling at your kids. If you get easily frustrated or you constantly feel like you need to yell at your kids and you want to do something different, that video is for you. This video is going to go hand in hand with that, and we're going to talk about toddler tantrums and discipline and a couple other things. Like maybe we can talk about something I thought about that I didn't write in my notes was hitting, like toddler hitting. Evelyn went through a very, very long phase of hitting, and it was very hard because I am, I guess, sensitive to physical contact. Physical touch is my love language, but also I was roughhoused and maybe bullied a little bit more as a kid, and so like physical contact, hitting and stuff like that really, it's really hard for me emotionally. So like towards the end of the week I would be done with parenting and the hitting. So we'll talk about that today too. But first, I wanted to say if you are excited for today's video or if you love all my other videos, and if you haven't watched my other videos, be sure to check out my channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe. For every like and subscribe, it lets me know that you guys are enjoying my videos and my content, what to make more of, and you are also helping me run my business and support our family in the long run. And I want to say thank you. So be sure to do that, and thank you so very much. Okay, so sorry, camera change. I really didn't like the placement, but this is much better. So first I want to mention about how great it is to be a parent in this year. Like, we have so much data and research, content, so many available resources, some better than others, so be sure to really research what you are looking into and make sure that you are getting it from a reputable source. And if you want some wonderful resources, I save wonderful graphics, quotes, images, mantras, all sorts of things for parenting under my Pinterest board called Raising Wonderful Kids. There's also plenty of apps. I actually made a whole blog post on the resources, but one of my favorite ones is Big Little Feelings. They share actual phrases that you can use, examples, different things you can do as a parent to not only help your child to develop and learn how to cope with these things, but also to help you develop and learn how to cope as a parent. And then I have 2 books that I absolutely love. The first one is The Danish Way of Parenting. If you are looking for the science, the research, everything about child development and the secret to a happy family, that is a wonderful book. I finished that very quickly. I've been listening to audiobooks, so I'll just leave a picture here. But I've been listening to audiobooks to make it easier for me to get my reading list through because, you know, as a mom, as a parent, we are very busy and we don't have as much time. Another wonderful book I love is Gentle Discipline. So after you've learned the science behind child development, Gentle Discipline really helps walk you through what you need to do, the phrases, and everything to help you be a gentle, positive parent. Okay, so let's start with tantrums. I think it is so crucial to let go of name calling. And some of these you might not expect to be name calling, and you might do them subconsciously, but it still is name calling. such as like calling your child lazy, to the extremes of obese, fat, skinny, to call them a pig. Other examples would be like, just stop calling them a brat, stop calling them bossy, and don't think of them as being dramatic. The reason is kids will hold on to those names, and the more frequently you say them, the more that they will take on that name, and even if they aren't lazy, they could then become lazy because they think that this is what they are. But another reason that this is very important is because tantrums are 100% natural. It is what it is. Tantrums are natural, and they're actually very important for development, and as you might be able to prevent them, which we will talk about later, but you cannot stop them. If you think about it, adults also have tantrums, do we not? How many times have you seen people on Facebook fights, or somebody honk their horns because somebody's not going fast enough in front of them? Or you're sitting in the kitchen cooking and something just isn't going the right way, and you start throwing spatulas or the food that you're cooking because it's just not working. Adults have tantrums too. They just don't look the same. So if you are under the impression that tantrums are bad, get that out of your head. And along with that, get out of your head that kids are bad, because they are not. There is no such thing as a bad kid. So let's talk about prevention. First and foremost, you want to make sure that your kids' basic needs are met. If you think of, or if this is completely new to you, Maslow's hierarchy of needs. A child cannot develop or function if their basic needs are not met. So when you are thinking about your child's basic needs, let's think about, are they fed? I am known for getting very cranky when I'm hungry. You can ask anybody in my family and they will know that you need to carry around a Snickers bar for Sierra. So make sure that your child is not hungry. Are they tired? My husband gets very cranky when he's tired. So kids are going to as well. You need to check to make sure that they're following their nap schedules, nap routines, and if your child isn't following a schedule or a routine, see if there's some way that you can implement independent time, safe space for them to calm down and relax. If your kids are old enough, meditation. There was a time where, I think you remember, if you've watched my other videos, then you remember, where Evelyn was just absolutely refusing to take naps. And I went with the flow. I just implemented independent time where she was in her room by herself. I had my camera up and I was in the very next room so that I could hear everything that was going on. And she just played independently. I had a little reading corner. I would bring in her weekly rotations, and that went for a couple weeks, and then she finally went back to napping, thank goodness. And another thing is, are they overstimulated? Stimulation isn't something that just happens with kids with needs. Anybody can get overstimulated. I very easily get overstimulated in certain situations. My husband gets overstimulated in social situations. So I've learned that I can't have too much noise throughout the day. So the TV, if we turn it on, which we very rarely do, then it needs to be set to low volume to where only like Evelyn could hear it if she's watching it. And yelling, loud music, everything just needs to be toned down for me to function. So think about your kid. Is your kid being overstimulated? Do they have too much playtime and maybe it's time to leave? Is it too loud? Did they get sensory overload? Are they seeing too much? It might be time to remove them from the situation and take a break. Another good recommendation is to put yourself in your kid's shoes. I actually do not have that great of a memory. I can't really remember too much past a certain point, and I'm not sure why that is. My husband does not have that great of memory of his childhood either. But if you can remember yours, or if you know how you feel now in certain situations, be sure to think about that from a child's perspective. So put yourself in your child's shoes and think about how would they feel if you were reacting, not reacting, or doing certain things, or lack of certain things in these situations. Preventative tip number 3, communicate. If you watched my first parenting video, then you know that I've already talked about communication and talking to your child. There is no such thing as talking above and beyond to your child. Your child has the innate ability to understand everything you are saying, to use body language and certain context clues to figure out what you mean. In fact, it is very important to overemphasize your facial features, your hand gestures, everything for your child right now. I was trying to find a chart, but if I find it later, I'll insert it here as well on the different ages and what you should be emphasizing. So I know, like, for Evelyn's age, for 2 and under, it's very important to emphasize big expressions and big emotions, and because that's how they grasp and understand things right now. So, for example, if Evelyn hits us, then instead of yelling at her or spanking her or disciplining her in some physical contact and negative way, we pretend that we were really, really hurt. We say, like, ow, oh, that really gave me a boo-boo. And then this helps Evelyn to understand that smacking hurts. It gives people boo-boos, owies, whatever you call it, and it helps her initiate an apology response without me having to force her to do it. So either she'll give me a kiss and we'll make it all better, or she'll have somebody else give me a kiss or something to make it all better. But that models to her why smacking is bad. We also like to say things like, I understand you are feeling this way, and it is not okay to hit. I'm not sure how I got there, but back to communication. Oh, we were talking about language development. That's right. Okay, so communication. You want to explain everything to your kids. So if their schedule is going to get messed up today, or if it is different, then make sure to tell them, I know today we normally do this, but we have to go to the store, or today we have to go see grandma, or, whatever you want to do. I know yesterday we didn't do chores, but today we're going to do chores. It doesn't have to involve leaving the house, but anything that would involve messing up a child's schedule. Tip number 4 for prevention. Make sure that you are giving your kids opportunities to be in control. Just as much as you want to have control over your day and your schedule and make sure your daily tasks are checked, your child wants control over their day too. They don't want to sit and be told what to eat, when to eat, where we need to go, how we need to do it. They want to have control over themselves and what they're going to do throughout the day. I like to involve Evelyn throughout giving her control by utilizing Montessori methods. So all of her plates, bowls, and snacks are in an area where she can easily access it. All of her clothes, her shoes, her accessories are all in an area where she can easily access it. And I am working on currently making daily routines stations. Like her toothbrush and toothpaste and stuff like that aren't easily accessible right now because we don't quite have the space for that. So I'm still figuring out how to do that, which is why I don't say that we are 100% Montessori, but we like to implement Montessori in ways that work best for us. But another way to give them control is to give them options. Instead of saying, you need to go to bed, we can say, it's time to get ready for bed. Would you like to brush your teeth, or would you like to go put on your PJs? And that lets them decide which one they want to do first and how they want to get ready for bed. Another thing that I watched from another YouTuber that I absolutely love, and I've started using it, and actually we haven't had to say it in a while because Evelyn is ready to go. I just realized that. I've been using this phrase for almost 3 months, and I don't remember the last time I had to use it. So right there, is an example of these practices actually working. A phrase that I like to use when we are leaving, especially if your toddler does not want to leave, is you use proper nouns. So like I would say, Mommy and Daddy are leaving. Would you like to come with us? I try to be as specific as possible, right? So I would say, Mommy and Daddy are headed to the store. Would you like to come with us? And Evelyn will usually promptly go get her shoes and a jacket if she needs it. But the reason that is very important is because when you are leaving a child, so if they are refusing to come and you say, okay, well, I am leaving, and you walk out that door and shut the door in their face, can you imagine like how scared and traumatic that can be for them? So that is why I try to keep Evelyn involved in everything that we're doing. Another thing you can do that we don't personally do, or we don't need to do yet, but it could be something that we use down the road, is to use a timer. So for example, if a child is playing, or here's a better example, they're at a play date or at daycare and you need to leave at X time. You can say, okay, I'm setting a timer, we need to leave in 10 minutes. I will give you a warning, and then it's time to go. You come back in at the warning and say, okay, we have X time left, 5 to 3 minutes left. Be sure to start wrapping up what you are doing now. And the reason this is important is because imagine yourself in their shoes. So big kid things, we are writing emails, we are working, we are running through things during the day, through things that we need to do during the day, doing chores, whatever it is. We are focused on a task. And imagine somebody coming in and saying, okay, we need to leave right now. Drop whatever you are doing and let's go right now. Well, no, I need to finish my email. I need to finish this task. I need to finish X, Y, Z, whatever. Same thing with kids. Your kid is focused on a task that they are doing. And yes, playing is a task for them. Playing is a crucial part of development. That is them making connections and learning and practicing real life activities. So yes, playing is a task for them, and you don't want to interrupt that just as much as we don't want to get interrupted. Tip number 6, be sure to give your kid undivided attention for anywhere between 10 to 20 minutes at least once a day. If you can do more, wonderful. If not, that's okay too. And when I mean undivided attention, I mean absolutely undivided. You are not doing any other task but playing with your child. You are not thinking about anything else, or if you do, jot it down to remember later and be 100% with your child right now. Eye contact, no phones, doing whatever they want to do. Children crave attention and they need attention. So if they are getting positive attention throughout the day and undivided attention throughout the day, they are going to be less likely to act up. Because if they act up, then they are getting negative attention, and negative attention is still attention. So they know if they do this, it will make you yell and turn and look at them. Or if they do this, if they make a mess, then they know that you will get mad and pay attention to them. So make sure you are giving them positive attention throughout the day. I like to have a checklist of little things that I do, but I also know that Evelyn craves attention first thing in the morning. So I block off my schedule to make sure that I can give her my undivided attention first thing in the morning with our breakfast, playtime, reading time, activity time, whatever. And then I go about making sure I get my checklist done throughout the day. Last preventative tip, are they bored? I am a firm believer in letting your children be bored, but I know that isn't always possible for toddlers. Evelyn, for example, will get very destructive when she's bored. She will start really figuring out the laws of physics, get on top of couches, launch things from couches, find water from somewhere and pour it in other places. It's a little aggravating and insane sometimes what she can figure out to do. So if I notice that she's getting a little destructive, I will then make sure that if we haven't gone outside for the day already, this is the time that we do so. If we have gone outside, then we go outside again. Has she had a bath? Baths can be very soothing and relaxing and de-stimulating. Or I bring out her sensory activities. So if I've made beans, rice, noodles, any tub at that time for the week, or her like paints, crafts, other little sensory goodies that I keep reserved. I would say finger painting, but Evelyn is actually not a big fan of finger painting. Evelyn is the only child I know that does not like to be dirty. She's crazy. Okay, so we've gone through prevention, and we've talked briefly about child development. There's more so of that in the books that I've recommended, so if you want to do those first, but you can also implement anything that I've said at any point throughout the day and any point in your schedule. You don't have to wait until tomorrow to start doing these. Go ahead and start them right now. And we will talk about what happens if their child is not listening. If you haven't done these things before, this is going to be new for you and for your child, so be sure to give yourself some grace. But let's talk about discipline. What is discipline? Discipline is literally, word for word definition, the practice of training people to obey rules or a code of behavior. It is teaching and learning. And nowhere in discipline, in the definition of discipline, does it say it is spanking, hitting, yelling, screaming, slamming, throwing. It's none of those things. It is literally teaching and learning. So throughout your whole day of your whole day, your child's whole day, everything you guys are doing throughout the day as a family, as an individual, with extended family, with extended friends, that is discipline. That is teaching and learning. From the moment they are born, they learn discipline. They learn consequences, whether good or bad. And not only that, but you are the best teacher for your child. You are the best parent for your child. There is no one that they need more than you. So if you are worried about whether or not you are a good parent for your child, that in and of itself is already saying that you are a wonderful parent for your child. The most important thing you can do for discipline is to model. So if you haven't already, go back and listen to my first parenting video, because we talk about ways to control and keep yourself calm and collected when you need to be. But that is the first part of discipline. Are you calm and collected? Let's think about how we are reacting. When we get mad, do we slam the chair into the table and leave? Do we slam the door? Do we start yelling and freaking out? Or are we able to manage our emotions? Because that's what we want to teach our kid. Our kid is having a tantrum because they don't know how to manage their emotions. Another important thing about discipline is that our child wants control, acknowledgement, and they want to know if we affirm their feelings. So control, acknowledgement, and affirming their feelings are the three biggest and most important things you can do when your child's having a tantrum or when you need to discipline. Controlling, we've already talked about. We talked about prevention methods and what we can do to help them feel in control. So let's talk about acknowledgement. We've kind of already touched on this a bit. I know I used it as an example. Acknowledging is saying, I feel you, I hear you, I know you are feeling X way. I know you are feeling mad right now. I see you are getting upset. I see you are frustrated. I can see that you're feeling a little sad. Or, I hear that you aren't talking how you normally do. Is there something wrong? That's a good one for when they're older, when they can actually explain their feelings. But you also then want to affirm. So you are saying, I understand you are feeling this way. And I find it very, very, very important to say, and then follow through. So I understand you are upset, and it is not nice to hit. The reason I find that more important than saying, I understand you are upset, but it is not nice to hit, is because that but kind of negates everything in the front. So if you're talking to your partner, this also works well for that. So if I were to say to Charlie, I understand you are upset, but I don't like the way you're talking to me. But kind of throws that all out the window. I love you, but I would like you to clean it this way. It just kicks it all out. So you want to say, I love you, and I need some space today. You are getting parenting and partner communication tips all in one video. Another thing, so if you're implementing things new, if you have just noticed this in your daily routine already, repeat, repeat, repeat. You are going to have to repeat, especially if you are just starting these all new, all of these tips and tricks and parenting hacks, if you want to call them that. You're going to have to keep repeating these phrases. Toddlers and many adults take longer to process information. So, if I ask Evelyn a question, I will give her a little bit longer than the comfortable amount to respond. If she doesn't respond, I'll ask it again. Or I'll rephrase if she needs help understanding, but usually she doesn't. So I'll be like, you want to go outside? And if she starts running around and going a little crazy, then I'll give it a couple minutes and I'll be like, would you like to go outside today? And usually by the second or third time, she will then get it clicked and we will go. But another example of repeating also coincides with the act of consequences. So you want to be able to show your child good and bad consequences. They are sitting and eating very politely, and you want to say, oh, I just love the way you are eating. I love being able to spend time with you like this. That shows them that what they're doing is good. Another thing, though, is repeating your command. I need you to sit down on your butt in this chair, please. You wait the uncomfortable amount of time, and if they don't sit, then you say, I need you to sit on your butt in this chair, or I will remove you from the chair. If they don't sit, then you have to follow through. That is the consequence. You are removing them from the chair. You do not and you should not ever give empty threats. Whether that mean you won't go to soccer practice if you do this, or I'm never giving you ice cream again. Never, ever, ever make empty threats that you will regret. But if you do, be sure to say sorry. So our goal as parents isn't to stop tantrums from happening, because like I said, they're completely natural and we can prevent them as much as we can, but don't ever think that your child will never have a tantrum, because that's just going to lead to disappointment. We are giving them the necessary skills to cope with those big feelings. I'm sorry if you can hear everything going on at this point. Charlie and Evelyn just got back. We're almost done. I'm just going to wrap this up here in a minute. You also want to avoid saying phrases like, it makes me sad when you make messes on the floor. It makes me sad when you knock over the lamp. It makes me sad when you insert something the child did. Those are not good phrases, and that leads to people pleasers. We do not want our child to think that they are responsible for our own feelings, as we are not responsible for our child's own feelings. I want to say that again. Our kids are not responsible to make sure that we are feeling the way that we want to be. Another tip that I have recently learned, and I'm trying to implement it in our own family life in general, is to avoid why questions. Why did you do that? Why does this look like that? Why did you make the bed this way? Why instantly makes us feel like we need to put up our defensive barrier. Why did we do it that way also implies that there is a right or a wrong way to do it. So instead, I've learned that you want to say what. For example, why did you do that? You would say, what happened? Obviously, some things are going to be a little bit more clear, or it's going to be completely obvious what happened, but allowing them to, the other person or your child, to express their own feelings and their own recount of what happened allows you to share your recount of what happened and how you can go about fixing it together. Another thing that I do not like is the adjective good. There is no such thing as a good child because there is no such thing as a bad child. So, scrap that out of your vocabulary. If you have a son, a daughter, or an individual who does not want to have gendered association, there's no such thing as a good girl, there's no such thing as a bad girl, good guy, bad guy, no such thing as them being good. That is a phrase that we frequently use for our pets and for training purposes. We are not training our toddlers. We are helping them live their own lives. Another thing I don't like, for multiple reasons, is saying, you are a big kid. Big kids do this. Big kids do that. Mommy and daddy do this. Grandma and grandpa do that, so you should do that. Because that is emphasizing the fact that they are little. They are not big. And it makes kids think that, well, when they are big, then they will be mature, then they will be able to do those things, then they will be good. When they're not, they are fine the way they are now. I think it also adds comparison. And just like how we don't like being compared to other people, I would never hear my parents say, oh, well, your sister does this, so why don't you do this? Because that's just, we're my brother and I are two different people. And comparing does not promote healthy relationships or healthy thoughts. So I don't think we should play the comparison game to kids, even in figurative, big kid worlds. When you are talking to them during these instances, be sure that you are getting down to their level. Squat down, put them up higher if they need to be, and get eye level with your kid. If you are bending down over them and yelling at them, then they are just going to be feeling small, helpless, and we want to empower them by bringing them eye to eye and telling them everything that I've already mentioned and why they shouldn't be doing X or why they should be doing X. How can you as a parent help them to do what they need to do or feel the way they need to feel? If your child or toddler is very distinctly upset, if they are smacking, hitting, yelling, whatever it is that they are doing that is bad behavior, be sure to take them out of the stimulation. Bring them to a whole other room, even if they're flailing and flopping about as you take them there. Evelyn does that all the time. And sit with them until that they are calm and collected and ready to talk. That is when you would then say that, I understand you're upset and it's not okay to do this. We don't do that. Yada, yada, yada. I would like to think that most of us by now know that spanking, yelling, empty threats, physical threats, those are all more harmful to the physical and mental health of our children than any benefit that they might ever do, which is none. They literally have no benefit at all. You might get your child to listen in that instance, but it is going to cause a long-term slew of side effects that you probably aren't ready for. Hitting them, yelling at them, whatever it is going to cause them to feel fearful. It's not going to stop them or help them learn how or why to stop what they're doing. It's just going to cause them to be more fearful around you. If they make an accident, like a mess, and you get upset, instead of saying, let's clean this up together, instead you get mad and you start yelling at them. Now they're just going to figure out how they can hide the mess. Or I can't show mom or I can't show dad this mess. Instead of them thinking that you're going to help them through this, now they have to worry about how to hide it from you because you're just going to yell. In addition to them not learning from that, it can also cause serious brain damage and disconnect certain neurons and paths within their developmental system. So, in conclusion, I hope this has brought some attention to either some child development or some parenting skills, or if you are even just a student or want to listen to parenting topics, I hope this has brought you some enjoyment. Again, be sure to like and subscribe if you don't already, and I can't wait to talk to you in our next video.